Hi everyone, my name is Elena D'Amato, and I built a website to help spread awareness about the deaf and hard of hearing community in Tampa Bay. Today I'm sitting here with my friend Emma Coles, and I'm going to share some important information with her and everybody else watching. A lot of people don't know about deaf culture or communication needs, especially when it comes to law enforcement.
Hi, I don't know much about the deaf community, so I'm excited to learn.
So, first, a lot of people only think of deaf as a medical condition, right? But deaf culture is actually a whole community based around language, mainly American Sign Language and other shared experiences. Deaf people don't see themselves as broken hearing people, and there's a culture and linguistic minorities. They have their own history, values, humor, traditions, and communication values and community events.
I didn't realize there was an actual culture behind it. I thought it was mostly just about not being able to hear.
A lot of people think that. That's one of the biggest misconceptions. Deaf identity is just as real as being part of any other cultural group, though. So, let me tell you a couple other misconceptions that hearing people often have. One big one is that all deaf people can lip read, right?
Hmm.
That's not necessarily true, though. Only about 30% of speech sounds are visible on the lips. Another misconception is thinking that deaf people can't work in certain jobs or occupations, but that's also entirely false. There are deaf teachers, lawyers, firefighters, and business owners. Pretty much any occupation you can think of, a deaf person can hold.
I definitely thought lip reading was a lot more common. That's really surprising.
Mhm. In Tampa Bay specifically, we actually have a pretty large deaf and hard of hearing population here. There are ASL meetups, deaf advocacy groups, and interpreters in this area. But even though there are these resources, deaf individuals still face barriers, especially in emergency and law enforcement situations.
Wow, I had no idea that Tampa had so many deaf resources.
Mhm. One of the biggest issues in Tampa Bay is communication with police. If an officer doesn't realize someone's deaf, they might think that they're being ignored or that the person is ignoring instructions or resisting, and this can lead to a bunch of issues. Sometimes deaf people get handcuffed before they can sign or write and explain that they're deaf, and this actually removes their access to language entirely, which obviously is a huge problem. The ADA requires accessible communication, but not all officers get proper training on how to administer this communication.
Wow, I never even thought about how dangerous that could be.
Mhm. Some simple solutions include teaching basic ASL signs to police officers like stop, ID, calm, and slow. I'm going to teach you a couple of them right now.
Okay.
So, stop is stop, ID is I, pinky up, and then D, yeah, ID, calm, and then slow. Police departments should keep notepads or communication cards in patrol cars as well. And training officers to recognize whether someone might be deaf can greatly prevent misunderstandings, and it's incredibly important.
Yeah, that feels like something that should already be happening.
I agree. Outside of law enforcement, deaf people run into barriers at other places, such as doctor's appointments, job interviews, school meetings, and even at restaurants, honestly. Just writing things down is not always accessible. ASL is their language. So interpreters are necessary and mandatory in many situations and should be provided.
That makes a lot of sense. I never really thought about interpreters in settings outside of classrooms.
Mhm. Hearing people can also help facilitate with communication needs and help by learning basic sign language, making eye contact with individuals, facing the person while speaking, and being patient. Even just learning finger spelling or common signs like thank you, again, and what we learned earlier,
Hmm.
slow, can make a huge difference.
Yeah, I would definitely learn some simple signs.
The deaf community isn't asking for special treatment.
Mhm.
They're just asking for equal access and communication education. Spreading awareness, getting proper training, and respecting ASL as a real language can help inclusion in Tampa Bay significantly and make the community trust in police officers and law enforcement agencies way stronger.
Thank you so much for explaining everything. I really feel like I learned a lot.
Of course, thank you for watching and thank you for
Of
listening.
course.
If you want to learn more about the deaf community in Tampa Bay and how to facilitate officer and community interactions, check out the resources that I have included on the website that this is on, and try learning some basic ASL signs. A lot of people just say hi and explain your name. This is name in sign language. That's basic respect and communication. And the deaf community and hard of hearing community would really appreciate that. Thank you for listening.